Your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray, don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say, lost my mind cause your frame. Hey girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion, beyond you like lotion. I'm honest and broken, I flow like the ocean. I feel you were chosen to fix me, I'm broken. My heart that you stolen, hey. Stay with me, play with me, lay with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you laying next to me, and I really don't want you to ever leave. On your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR podcast here for season 3, episode 3. We are joined, like always, with Matt Tucker. What's going on, buddy?
Going on, Ronnie? It's been a crazy week. We got a lot to talk about in this episode.
Oh, you are not wrong. David, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR podcast, bud. How you been?
And doing really well. Appreciate you having me on again. And what a week to have me on.
Yeah, man. Wish Payne was here. Definitely, like Matt said, we got a lot to talk about, but let's jump right into it because we have got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, so first thing first, what a race we saw this weekend. You know, for all the way from the drop of the green flag all the way to the checkered flag, there was action nonstop throughout this race. David, start us off with how you felt the Cup race went on Sunday. Without getting into the finish too much and without the extracurricular activities that took part in pit lane.
Man, let's take all that extra stuff, toss away for now, all right? I think that race was fantastic. Oh my gosh, dude. That is exactly what I'm looking for in a race, which is multi-grooved. I tell you this every time I'm on, I'm looking for side-by-side action. I'm not in here for this, single file parade stuff. I'm here for the racing, all right? What we got this weekend was racing, not only in the Cup Series, but we got it in the Truck Series. It just stand out all the way around. You had passes all throughout the race. It wasn't just wait until the end for the stage to end and then let's start racing. No, man. Track position mattered, time mattered. And you had battles from first all the way back towards the back of the pack. It was a fantastic race. We had lots of good sunshine on the tracks. The track really heated up pretty well. Which caused them to kind of slip and slide, which made it to where that high groove could kind of shift a little bit with them going up there to really build speed. But you still had a good low line where you can kind of dive up into the corner, wash up a little bit, kind of pinch them up towards that wall as best you could, and maybe protect them from getting too much speed coming out of the corners. I thought it was amazing. I was glued to the TV the entire time. And yeah, man. And then we got a heck of a battle to win. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. But yeah, man, I was stoked on it. That's like they've been saying all week long, not to steal it from NBC, NASCAR, or all the other podcasts. That might be one of the best races, if not all time, at the bare minimum for the last couple years.
100%. That is the best race we have seen on a mile and a half. You mentioned it, maybe ever. We talked about earlier in the season in the podcast, NASCAR, they had their good short track package. They've, worked on that a little bit. Now, are we starting to see the 1.5 mile shine? Matt, what you got?
That's the thing about everybody's been saying about this new car is how the short track has needed work, but this car literally, there's not been a bad mile-and-a-half race in the last 2 years. You had the Coke 600 last year, a lot of comers and goers, and people were arguing how fantastic that was. And then literally yesterday, I correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the most lead changes in,
Yep.
in a mile and a half, 400, or in a mile and a half track with a 400-mile distance in NASCAR history. So we saw something that had never been done before in the history of NASCAR, which ironically, you got the 75 greatest drivers thing at Darlington come up too. So a good way to talk about leading up into that race too. And I think just the way you had everybody coming in and going throughout the whole race. I mean, you had Byron was up there for a little bit, and then literally lap 5, Reddick gets into Larson and spins him out. Like, these guys were racing hard from the get go. They wasn't no just laying back and just riding around. They were on it from the drop of the green flag. And as a NASCAR fan, it's fantastic to see that racing.
Absolutely, and it all goes to exactly what David just mentioned. Track position was key, and those guys knew it. You know, I know a couple people are in the Discord chat asking, why are they being so aggressive right now? It's 3 laps in, and then Larson gets spun because of it, and it's because they knew that clean air was king. You know, so, and it's like David said, you know, you got those multi-grooves, which is absolutely fantastic. You can span 3, 4, even maybe 5 wide at certain tracks like Auto Club and stuff like that. But, you know, these guys knew that clean air was key. They needed that track position early. And you mentioned it. Byron was up there until he got loose on like lap 3 or 4. And then he got into some issues where he had to try to recover. But that's going to lead us into our next topic here is you mentioned it, the comers and goers. Well, at the beginning, the first half of this race, it was all Toyota. 100% all Toyota. Then they fell back. Chevy stepped up. Then it became the Chevy show. And then it became down to obviously Toyota versus Chevy there in the closing laps. But, you know, not only were the drivers coming and going, the manufacturers as well. David, walk us through what takes place because, yeah, you're going to have those maybe 1 or 2 drivers that start great, fall back, and then come back. You don't normally see manufacturers as a whole do this.
Well, I think Toyota's biggest strength right now is their aero package. They're producing a lot of aerodynamic grip at these faster paced tracks, whether it be the super speedways or whether it be the 1.5 miles or even the 2-mile tracks. The package is allowing them to cut through that air better than the Chevys and much better than the Fords, because we've noticed that the Fords have absolutely struggled at these faster tracks. And I think that is in part to do with maybe that flatter nose. Whereas if you notice on the Toyotas, they tend to have like these divots around the hood that allow the air to kind of streamline to the side and help build down pressure. And I think it's working very well for them on these tracks. I'd like to see them do maybe a little bit better at the short tracks, but when it comes to these faster paced tracks, I think a lot of it has to do with aerodynamics.
Matt, what you got?
Like, you guys hit the nail on the head. I mean, Toyota just looked flat out right out of the gate like they had the best stuff. I mean, all the 6 cars that are Toyota manufactured were up in the top 8. I think that's what they were saying. So it wasn't like you had 2 or 1 2311 and 2 Joe Gibbs racing cars. All 6 of them were literally fast and competitive from the drop of the green flag. And then you had the Chevy guys that hit on those adjustments midway through, because Larson was really in the back, and then Chase Elliott was also in the back, and he ends up charging up through. So you had those multiple guys that were fast from the beginning, and then the other guys that just hit on their stuff. But the thing that really disappointed me was seeing the Fords kind of just lollygag, kind of like around like from mid teens to right outside the top 10. So there wasn't really a dominant Ford. I mean, Logano won the second stage, but that was just based off of sole strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it wasn't really like he dominated that thing. It just kind of just backed into that. But that was really the only bright spot from Ford. I mean, because Logano was running mid-20s, and somehow I don't really know how he got up to, I think he finished 6th in the race. So but just there wasn't any Ford power anywhere. It was just all like we talked about with the Chevys and Toyotas, and Hamlin and the Toyota blended it too. So we'll see. The next mile and a half is what, Charlotte in a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So Ford's gonna have to bring their A game back there. So we'll see how if they can respond or if they can rebound, and if Chevy and Toyota can respond to what they ran today this weekend at Kansas.
To add real quick, they did take the Chevys and a couple Toyotas to R&D not for penalties or anything like that, but for aerodynamic tests. And I believe that was to kind of give some information to Ford on where they can improve. So hopefully with that information, if that was indeed, they didn't specify, but that was a lot of what everyone was thinking that was going on. Hopefully that will help them kind of tune their cars a little bit better to make them a little bit more aerodynamic. But I don't know how you're going to do that with that big old flat nose, which is great for pushing at super speedways, but what about leading at super speedways?
See, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
If that is NASCAR's prerogative in this, is to help Ford, I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously I'd like Ford with Penske, but that's not Toyota and Chevy's job. If they're able to get that leg above because they're focusing on aerodynamics, that's fantastic. Ford, you need to step your game up. This isn't Formula One where we're running the same exact setup. You know, that to me, it shouldn't be like that. Ford should have to step their game up on their own, figure out what's working, figure out what isn't, because a lot isn't apparently. And that's where Ford should be doing it. Not, hey, NASCAR, take Chevy and Toyota to help us out.
Well, Ford's making a lot of mechanical grip right now, and I don't think, like you were saying, I don't really see it being fair that they're going to give them all this information on their aerodynamics, but is Ford going to give up their information about mechanical grip?
Nope.
I think not.
No, and that's the thing too. Ford, everybody remembers this, but Ford only has one win on the year. That was Joey Logano at Atlanta at a drafting track. So they're and really a couple of years ago we had been saying thing about Chevy, that Chevy was struggling with all their equipment stuff and all the changes too. But Ford, other than Logano winning the championship with this next gen car, there's been literally not as much guys running on the top around the lead, the main pack. So if I'm Ford, I'm getting a little worried with the way my setups are right now with this next gen car.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, let's jump right into the nit and gritty of what we're all here to discuss tonight. You know, Matt, when we ended the podcast last week, I said, tune in next week as we will discover what Chastain gets himself into. Well, when we ended that podcast, I don't think any of us expected it to be what it led to this week here on that pit road. Man, but who would have thought, out of every single driver out there, it was going to be Gragson that did it?
Well, the thing is, I mean, Gragson and Chastain have their little scuffle at Talladega, so I mean, they had a little bit of history, but the thing is, like, Chastain, he's building that reputation of the guy that you don't want to be around. It's going to be racing you hard 24/7, which as fans we love and sometimes we don't love. But I'm very selective with this because I think Chastain basically is just not giving two craps about who's around him whenever, because I think with the pool incident at Darlington, it was just straight up an accident. But this weekend at Kansas, it was just, he knew Gragson was out there and just basically said, okay, like, you're going to have to either lift or you're getting the wall, kind of like what Hamlin did to him at Pocono last year. So, but like you said, if it's not Chastain every weekend, I don't think we're going to be a lot to talk about, because Chastain's right now the guy that's like controlling everything in NASCAR.
David, what you got?
Well, as I said, in Xfinity, Gragson, never say his name right, was my number one driver. And y'all all know in Cup, Ross Chastain's my number one driver. Now, I'll start off with, honestly didn't think the move that Ross threw at Gragson was really that big of a deal. He gave them an entire lane plus a little bit more. If that scared the rookie into the wall or that air pushed them up a little bit, well, you're a professional race car driver. I think you should be able to handle that. Now, I do understand that he has been getting into a lot of stuff here and there, or every week, I should say. But the guys there, blue collar, watermelon farmer, fifth generation. He's here to make a name. He's kind of like the old Joey Logano, where he's not worried about, hey man, what you doing next week on Saturday night. No, hey, I'm here to get my paycheck. I'm here to make a name, and I'm here to win. And that's the type of people we need in NASCAR. We got too many pushovers. We got too many people that move out of the way for the greats. No, we need someone in there to ruffle some feathers. And like I said, I like them both. They're both great drivers. I think when Gragson ends up getting into a good ride, or they build on what they have, maybe when they go to Toyotas, it'll be a little bit better. I think he's going to be just as aggressive. I do not see in Gragson sitting back and not being nearly as aggressive as Ross is. But I said it to Chris the other day before it happened. I said there's two people that are going to do something about it if he ends up ruffling their feathers. It's going to be Gragson or Austin Hill when Austin Hill comes to the Cup. And those are the two people you don't want to piss off, because those are the two guys that they're going to pop you in the mouth. And they're not the ones you want to be popped in the mouth by.
I will say this about Greg's or about Chastain though. He landed a pretty hard punch. I mean, with all the audio and stuff that NASCAR posted about the altercation with him, you could hear him connect. So you know he can throw one.
It's easy to do though when you hold the guy's hands down and then kind of sucker punch the guy.
I'll tell you this though, all right, because I used to be really big into fighting. That is a key move right there. Mm-hmm. That is Denny. I think Danny Hamlin or either the garage guy said it, but that is a technique that you use in fighting. You control the wrist, and the guy had a first sense there to do that and to be ready for it. He was covering all of his bases. I do agree. I love Ross, love Gragson. I kind of wish the gold shirt guy, the brown shirt guy, would have backed off, made it brawled out. I think Gragson would have won.
Oh, 100%.
I think Gragson would have won. But iron shit over there. He's been who did he get hit by him? And the same thing, man. Shrugged it off. The man had it.
If you're Gragson though, you're gonna have to know someone's gonna break it up. So why don't you just go in there and just start swinging?
That's what
if you're really wanting to start a fight, if you're wanting to start a fight, just go ahead and start it. Don't go hissy fissy and just grab him and just wait for him to do something.
I think he wasn't expecting Ross to be feisty. I think because if you go back, I've watched a lot of these videos on YouTube back in the day when he was coming up in the 42 car, Xfinity, all that. And there's always been someone to step in before the fight actually happened, every single time from everything that I've seen. So I don't think Gragson really thought he was going to swing. I think he went in there thinking, look, I'm going to shake you around, show you who's boss, and that's going to be the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I wish the yellow, gold, whatever shirt he was wearing wasn't there. But like you said, David, I think Gragson would have won that. I think Chastain definitely would have went... he'd have been tucked into bed and sent back to the watermelon farm, because that first punch was landing, and that was gonna hurt.
Gragson looked like he was just gonna rock him if that wasn't right there. Yeah, his new bowl cut was flying and everywhere like that. Like he was gonna connect, man.
Yeah,
he was a man on a mission, that's for sure. If you saw the ferociousness when he got his hand free, and you saw the ferociousness he was coming from. He wasn't going in there to land a hit. He was going in there to land multiple hits, if not kick the guy in the teeth when he was on the ground.
Yeah, it's like I told Peyton. I said Chastain needs to take that security guard out to dinner because he just saved his life.
Yeah. He did. Yes, he did.
But all right, well, let's get to the finish. Hamlin, Larson. Definitely, going into the whole race was the best we've seen in a long time. That finish, whether you like Hamlin or not, that finish was one of the most classic NASCAR finishes we have seen in a long time. And, I know on social media, a lot of people are giving Hamlin a lot of crap for it. In my opinion, Hamlin did absolutely nothing wrong. He didn't try to go in there and wreck Larson. Larson got loose, got up into the wall, came down. Hamlin was there. Sure, Hamlin was giving him no room, absolutely no room. But he was trying to side draft. That's what you had to do, just like you mentioned earlier, David. When we started this podcast, you got to use that air to your advantage. side drafting's the best way to do it. So to me, in my opinion, Hamlin did absolutely nothing wrong. I know he's taking a lot of flack for it, but and it goes along with Chastain. If Chastain had done that, people would have been livid. So while Chastain and Hamlin aren't the best of friends, but I'll give Chastain credit. I don't know if you saw the video where he went into victory lane and actually congratulated Hamlin. That was a class act. I'll give him that 100%. But to me, that was just great racing. Unfortunate that, Larson did get put in a wall, but it was kind of his own doing.
I think you're spot on there. You touched on it very well. Look, all he did was exactly what Denny said. Dang, I wanted to say Chase Elliott, but Kyle Larson does all the time. He puts you in a tough position to where you have to lift or you're going to hit the wall. Well, guess what? Denny Hamlin did the exact same thing. He gave him no room other than the little bit that he had on the outside while he wasn't up against the wall. He puts his nose right there on his quarter panel, and he says, okay, well, what are you going to do? I see you're loose. You're coming off this corner. You're already shaking and baking the last couple of laps. All right, what you going to do? So he gets right there on him. He packs the air on him. And that's going to, at that point, you're going to have to lift or you're going to hit the wall. I mean, that's just a strategic move by a seasoned veteran. I mean, I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan, but the boy did nothing wrong. He was very calculated in what he did. And if you listen back to Kyle Larson's radio, I believe it was either a spotter or his crew chief who was sitting there throwing his hands up going, Denny's better than that. Denny's better than that. Well, Denny is better than that. He put you in a spot. You didn't lift. You weren't better than the spot that Denny put you in. He didn't do a dang thing wrong. It was hard racing. And he's going for a win. He needs that win to get to that championship. The playoffs, I'd do it. If it was me and Matt in that same position, I'm putting my nose right there on him, and I would expect him to do the exact same thing to me. Reverse those roles, put Larson on the outside, and I guarantee all of them Kyle Larson people that are hooting and hollering to Denny are going, good job, Larson. Good job. You did it, man. That was a pro move. Come on. Hate on Denny, even if you're not a Denny fan.
Absolutely. And you brought up something that I wanted to bring up was the radio audio. I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it was a spotter or crew chief, but he goes, Denny hooked you. No, he didn't. He did not hook you. You hooked yourself, So, Matt, how do you feel about this incident?
Once Hamlin, because I think we can all agree, Hamlin literally had the best long run car of the whole field on Sunday. Once Hamlin got around Byron and was like, a second and a half, 2 seconds back, those last 25 laps probably were the most anticipation I think I've had, and I couldn't tell you how long in a NASCAR race. You knew that if there wasn't going to be a caution, then there was just going to be something happen with that finish. So, and lo and behold, it happened. So, but seeing Larson get through traffic, and that's the thing too. Larson displayed how good he is at driving a race car, because that thing was loose those last 10 laps, and he was still ripping it. And you had Hamlin trying to find different lines. He went middle, he went low, he stayed high, tried to get around lap traffic, and it was a classic. It reminded me a lot of the Edwards Johnson kind of like anticipation in Atlanta, where you had those guys like back and forth, like catching these or trying to make a move on one another, yada yada yada. But as for the last lap incident goes, like you guys said it, I mean, it's going for a win. You had Larson hit the wall. I think one of the camera angles where it's like straight on coming from turn 3, he taps the wall, comes down a little bit when Hamlin's coming side draft. So that's just hard racing. And I think, looky there.
Wow.
Who just joined?
Hey.
Hey.
Wow. He is alive.
You missed it. You missed your segment. So you were watching the podcast and just decided to skip the segment after. So.
Hey, where's the box of tissues at, Peyton?
Yeah,
Man, listen, okay. I was busy watching Ross Chastain's class video on fighting. He's doing classes in the YMCA. Highly recommend. It's a great class.
How many security guards does he require in that video to hide behind?
Hey man, you can control what you can control. That's all I gotta say.
But anyway, I think everybody, like we all said about with Hamlin and Larson, I think it was just hard racing, and Hamlin did what he had to do to win, and then win number 49 on Hamlin's career. So that's tied for with Tony Stewart now. So good.
Fourth career win at Kansas.
Yeah,
That's the
thing.
number one of all time.
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
no one else won 4 times at that track.
So yeah, but Hamlin's the 9th different winner now in 12 races. So there's 9 guys. The playoff spots are starting to rack up. So there's only 7 more spots left. So it's getting down nitty gritty. Just a third of the way through the, almost halfway through the regular season. Wow, that's kind of hard to say now. It just feels like the 500 was just yesterday.
Yeah. And another big stat apparently was, I believe that was the only Kansas race where you had a last lap pass for the win. So
That's
two big records there.
Yeah. So something I want to talk about is what you just brought up a little bit ago, Matt. You mentioned it, watching Hamlin have to run down Chastain and how he had to switch his lanes and everything because, to get out of that wake. What'd I say?
You said Chastain. Peyton got you off guard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, he had to run down Larson. And, it's like Peyton mentioned after Dover, he said he's not a fan of that having to fight the air. Well, we saw just how great that can be. I mean, that's not just run up behind the guy and pass him. He had to change his lanes. He had to fight lap traffic. That was just, like we mentioned, that is a classic NASCAR finish. Peyton, since you wanted to just join after, of course, your topic's done and over with, it's your time to shine. And what do you got about this finish?
Still got NEXXTCAR to talk about with Peyton, so we haven't left him all out of the loop yet.
Hey.
Oh, where's that new firework sound that you can do on Discord now?
Yeah, I thought, as a, hardcore Denny Hamlin hater, I mean, it's very well documented and recorded. Honestly, I didn't really have a huge problem with, how Denny ended that race. If I'm Kyle Larson, I'm mad, for sure. But if you look back on it, it's really Kyle Larson's mistake that puts him in that situation. And Denny, it's the last lap. We talk about it all the time. You have to be aggressive in these cars, and Denny's being aggressive. He's getting as close as he can to Larson. He has no idea Larson's in the wall. And then once Larson comes off the wall, well, it just looks like the Hamlin that he comes down the track and a little touch, and there he goes. So, I mean, it's just hard racing, and one guy making a little mistake, and it's a game of inches, and that changes the outcome of the race. I mean, sure, we all wish that they'd have got the bow to the line. It'd have been an epic finish, but not really much Hamlin could do. But hey, I'll take the pick win there. I mean, I don't like Denny Hamlin, but bittersweet.
Yeah, Ronnie had Larson, so you wrecked Ronnie for a win. I guess that's just the payback from Atlanta last year.
Yeah.
All right, we got to do it. It's only fair. Let's hit the rewind button. Peyton, walk us through the fight.
Hey, I mean, we just talked about this on a podcast or two ago. As a Ross Chastain fan, Ross is one of the nicest guys on the track.
I'm sorry?
I'm
sorry?
Off the track.
Okay.
If you go meet Ross,
I thought you said on the track.
You said on the track.
On the track.
You said on the track.
All right.
Off the track.
David, how many beers did you give Peyton?
I gave him 4. That might be his limit.
Ross Chastain is, one of the biggest assholes on the track. We all know that.
There
But off the track, he's one of the, I think one of the best dudes you'll meet in NASCAR. So I didn't know if he had it in him to get in a fight like that. When I met him, everything, from everything I've seen, I never thought Ross, especially be the one that would throw the first punch, never saw it coming. And he warned Noah. When Noah comes up, you put your hands on a guy, he warned Noah to stop. He gave him multiple, chances. Noah didn't. And bam! I I was shocked. I was, in the living room with my family watching the end there, and I was so caught off guard. I was like, holy cow, Ross Chastain's in a fight. I know people are mad that the dude stepped in and everything. I know Ronnie's a, hardcore hater of the dude jumping in real quick, Of course,
tomorrow.
He ended the fun. Like, it was going to get really interesting, but, I get it. That's why, you'll hear people say, I saw somebody say a quote, if you're going to get in a fight, make sure you land, the first punch or, get your legs out quick because you never know. You might not have the opportunity to get them. And I think that's the lesson Noah learned. Instead of, if he was going to go up and wanted to fight, he should have thrown a punch first instead of giving Ross the first blow.
Absolutely. Chastain hit the old, oh, I don't got car insurance. I got in an accident. Well, chalk this up as a hit and run because I'm a punch in and I'm a hide. So, but yeah, let's move on to Harvick's news. Obviously, this is his last full-time season in Cup. Well, he just got named to NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers list. A career that started under unforeseen circumstances. Definitely circumstances that no one ever wants to get thrown into. But he definitely rose to the challenge, and he has had one hell of a career. David, start us off.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start when it comes to Kevin Harvick. Man, I don't think it really brushed up enough for. But I think the man's had a good career. It sucks to see him go. I really hate watching all these legendary drivers, the old school guys, and they're all leaving the sport, and that's unfortunate. But it is leading the way to bigger and greater things, in my opinion. And I think I really hope he manages to finish the season off strong, so that way he can go out with a bang. Last thing, even for someone that I don't like, I would want them to finish their season kind of like how you finished your last race at Atlanta, with a bang, and to go out proud of what they've accomplished. And I think Kevin Harvick, puts his foot, to the floorboard and keeps pushing hard. There's a good chance that he will make it into the playoffs, and he'll be able to finish the season strong and go into the booth. And that's the bright side here. I think is we're gonna get him in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does a fantastic job up there, and it's not like he's leaving from the sport entirely like some of the drivers do. That's about all I have for it. Like I said, I was never a giant Kevin Harvick fan, so I don't have too much to throw at it. But it does still suck to see someone like that leave the sport.
Absolutely, especially you mentioned it. Not only is he a legendary driver in the sport, he is one of the, and I'm sure Matt and Peyton can back this up. He is one of the very few left from our childhood. I know it happens in every sport. NFL players get older, they retire, but he's one of the very few left from our childhood. We're getting close to the end of that era in our NASCAR, just like our parents had that. Richard Petty retiring, Jeff Gordon retiring a couple years ago. It happens, but it's that door is slowly but surely closing on that era of our childhood. I mean, I think the last ones left is, Kyle Busch, Truex, if you want to consider him kind of from our childhood. I don't really think there's that many left. So
Yeah.
Peyton, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Harvick making the 75 was an obvious choice. I think Harvick, his whole career has been impressive, but what he's been able to do with Stewart Haas coming in has been really impressive to me. I mean, even to this day, like, it's very obvious. He has very little to no help. I mean, the rest of the team is in absolute shambles. We know, like, Chase Briscoe has talent, but I mean, this last weekend he was running like in the 30s the entire race. So Stewart Haas is, lost, but the only thing they have going for him is Kevin Harvick every single week. So, for him to be at his age at this point with the team declining how it is and him to still be able to be running up front, contending for wins, should have had a win earlier this season, is like crazy impressive to me. So, a lot of these guys when they get older, they hit their, they hit that point where they just kind of fade off. We saw it with Johnson. Gordon was one that wasn't like that. But just mad impressive that Kevin Harvick's been able to be this good for this long and continues to do that. So it's going to be really sucky to see him go. We'll see him around, though. He'll be in the booth. We'll see his son grow up. So it'll be a cool story to still follow. He's not going to just disappear like Carl Edwards, but mad props to the guy for getting the top 75.
You mentioned his son, and I don't know if you guys watched the video on Facebook about when his kids brought it out. His kid's first question was to him, "Dad, how do I get into the 100?" So I thought that was pretty cool that even at the age that Keelan is, I think he's like 7 or 8, he's already thinking about that. You know, how do you continue on your father's legacy? Because every kid wants to do that. You know, that's every kid's hopes and dream is to continue on that legacy. Matt, what you got?
I mean, everybody's already said it. I mean, there was no doubt that Kevin Harvick was going to be on the top 75. I mean, we've mentioned in previous podcasts of him this being his last season and how we all talked about all of his accomplishments he's had. I mean, he's had the couple of the Busch Series championships and he had the Cup championship and with his first year at Stewart Haas. So yeah, I think everybody's already hit the head. Harvick's going to be probably top. Right now he's top 10 in all-time wins. So there was no reason why to not include him on this list. So still would like to see him get kind of that send off, that kind of like what Gordon got in 2015, where he was able to compete for a championship. So I think seeing Harvick kind of have that success this season with him being like top 5 in points. So I mean, it's just been he's been the guy at Ford. Like we kind of talked about this earlier about Peyton, but we said that like Ford's kind of had a downfall year with only 1 win right now. So, but yeah, Harvick's carrying that Ford banner with all of his consistent finishes, and that's just kind of been the MO of Harvick's career. Is just the consistent guy, and then the closer at the end gets up and grabs it. So. Could see him getting at Darlington, getting the win this weekend. This is probably one of his best tracks that he's raced at. So with I think the last win he had there was that Southern 500 in 2020. So I think he swept the races at Darlington in 2020. So yeah, could see him getting yet another one this weekend.
Yeah, that's it. You know what's coming up, Darlington. So hopefully we see him up there.
So how many spots are left for them to give out?
2. 2. They got Logano today.
Oh, they did do Joey?
Logano?
I didn't see that.
Logano today.
Cool.
Yeah, Logano got added today. They his parents called in on Sirius XM and told him that he was going to be.
No shit, that's awesome.
So,
I did not see that.
So yeah, that's how. So there's 2 spots left. Which if it's not Kenseth and Johnson, then I don't.
That's who it's got to be.
It's got to be.
Yep.
Jimmy Johnson isn't on there already?
No, he's not yet.
They're gonna save him.
They're saving him for last. He's got to be last.
That's super cool.
And Cody Ware has been added to the NASCAR Greatest 75 drivers list.
Yep. Save the best for last.
So, yeah, Kenseth and Johnson, they're the last 2.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah,
Because I think Logano was a right-in too.
Yeah.
Whether you like the guy or not, you got to respect his ability on the track.
He's got Daytona 500 championship, 2 Cup championships. So and he's top 30 in wins. So that's a given.
Yep. I'm about to say just the 2 championships alone. I mean, there's not a ton of. Yes, other people have done it, but there's not a ton of people that have.
Right.
You know, and, if they skipped him, what's NASCAR doing, man? I mean, love him, hate him. I mean, the dude's a great driver. I am no Logano fan. I like the guy. I like his personality on and off the track, but I'm definitely not rooting for him each week. You can't not have him on that list. So that's great that he finally got it. Didn't hear about that, so
no, me either.
I thought what was cool about it is his stuff up for it, his diecast and everything. They had put in a bag in his office like weeks ago. And he thought it was a fire suit for like a commercial or something. It's just been sitting over there. So at any moment, he could have went over there and opened it and spoiled the entire thing, and he didn't. So absolutely hilarious on that whole thing.
That is pretty funny.
It's pretty cool how innovative these guys are getting.
Yeah.
Because with the Bush brothers, they told them they were filming a Mother's Day commercial. And then obviously it turned into this, where they both got it at the same time. But yeah, the family and everyone told them that they're getting them together to film a Mother's Day commercial.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yep. So it's pretty cool to see just how everyone's getting inventive with this, you know. But you guys mentioned it. Darlington is coming up. We got some big news on Sunday about this race in Darlington. We've all mentioned it. How is Carl Edwards' legacy affected in NASCAR? He got the top 75. Well, guess what? He is coming back to join the booth in the second stage with Bill Elliott. The first stage is going to belong to the Petties, Richard and Kyle. That second stage is Bill Elliott and Carl Edwards. That's awesome to see cousin Carl back in NASCAR.
nice to see Carl Edwards take time away from his Amish
Mhm.
days and come back to NASCAR and go back to his old roots instead of having to farm like he was doing.
Look, I'm gonna say this. I really hope it's not like how Richard Petty was, where he was like, "That's not a Darlington strike right there." So when we hit that wall, we really hit that wall. I was just like, "Come on, man, you get it. You know, you walked uphill both ways to school. We understand. That's give me a break."
But yeah, like what you said with Edwards coming back, like that's another guy from our childhood where he started off like when we talked about earlier too, that Atlanta win kind of got him going for his career when he beat Johnson at Atlanta in 05. So good to see Edwards. This is probably his first NASCAR appearance since his retirement in early 2017. So yeah, it's kind of gonna be. It's been a long time since you've seen Carl Edwards on a NASCAR affiliated broadcast. So it's gonna be kind of cool to see. So he did do some. I think he did some commentary for Xfinity way back when he was still driving. I think for Roush. So it's not like he's going into this commentary blind. I think he had done some broadcast before.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it, fellas. Let's get into our weekly picks. David, the floor is yours.
Oh man, for Darlington, that's a tough one.
Yeah, you gotta give your
as much
lock
as
and
I-
your sleeper.
Well, as much as I don't hope it happens, I think he's on a run right now, and I think he's going to bring the heat. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
your
He almost
lock.
got it done.
A lot of silence behind that.
What about your sleeper?
What about your sleeper? Yeah.
Oh, my sleeper. Oh, I apologize. Man, sleeper. Let's see. We'll shoot for the moon, and we're gonna say Noah Gragson after punching Ross in the face is gonna find his way to the front. And no, I'm just kidding. We're gonna go with Ty Gibbs.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
interesting. All right.
Ty Gibbs has been heating up these past couple of weeks, dude, and I think it's about time that he does something great, and he's gonna run his way up to the front. Now, if he doesn't win, bare minimum, I guarantee he'll be in the top 10.
Oh, he's been heating something, all right. He's been heating them tow truck engines, that's for sure. But all right, I'm gonna go because you guys have all
There
won.
you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So my lock-in, I'm kind of torn on this. You took Hamlin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JGR these last 2 weeks have been on absolute fire. And I'm kind of jumping on that JGR train right now with them. I'm going to go with the guy that just got his first win in a year and a half at Dover. Martin Truex Jr. is going to be my lock-in. I think he could possibly get it done. And then my sleeper pick, I'm going to go with the guy that won here last year. Noah's teammate, Eric Jones. I
like that.
I think that
I like
Eric
that.
Jones, obviously, he had to hold off Hamlin to get the win last year. And I think that Eric Jones, if the circumstances replay themselves, he might be able to get it done for 2 in a row here.
Is that a sleeper if he won last year?
He's 27th in points.
He's outside
bad.
the top 20.
Yeah, with how bad Legacy Miracle has been, that's definitely a sleeper right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go since Peyton won last week. So,
Yeah.
so, this guy has to win to make the playoffs, and this is a track where he has been very consistent. I think he would have won. I forget which year it was until he got wrecked out. Has to win and make the playoffs. Going with my lock, as much as pains to say, he's in his dad's throwback. I'll take Chase Elliott as my lock to win at Darlington.
I hope he
As much
gets
thanks.
spun again.
His dad's in the booth in the last stage. I mean, it's kind of an omen. Chase Elliott's gonna win
That would be cool.
win at Darlington. So yeah, it would be cool with his dad calling it. And then my sleeper, this guy also probably needs to win to make the play. He does need to win.
I'll do it.
He has ran well at Darlington in the past. I think in the playoffs, he finished second. This was a couple of years ago. He finished second in the playoffs in Darlington. Give me Austin Dillon in the 3-car. He's got a little bit of momentum.
Ooh.
He got a top 10 last week, so I will go with Austin Dillon as my sleeper too. So 9-3.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting. What you got, Payne?
Drum roll.
Well, last week, I mean, I don't. It's gonna be really hard to ever top my week from last week. I mean, picking the winner and sleeper finishing fourth, like that's gonna be hard to beat. But I have confidence that I'll get a run for money this week. So last year in a throwback race, this dude, it's easy to forget. He had the best car that race, and in true fashion, I guess, kind of choked that one all away, battling Hamlin. So, last week I said it's about time for Denny Hamlin to win. So I picked him and he won. But it's about time for Ross. He's got a fire lit under him from this week. He was so quick here last year. I'm going to take Ross this week. It just seems like it's the perfect time for him to finally snap this little streak he's on. He just
Little
ran
streak.
top
It's
five.
a year.
Yeah, but he leads the series in top
Oh.
5 finishes in the next gen car, and he also has the most second place finishes in the next gen car. So he's been so close so far. This week he finally gets it done, and we kind of have a funny little Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain victory lane 2 weeks in a row. As for the sleeper of the week, I almost wanted to go for the the 2-hand punch, no pun intended, and take Noah with him,
Cody?
but oh my lord. Anyways, I just if Legacy was as good as they were last year, I would take Noah, but I can't because this guy ran here really good last year, if people forget it, and he's been like kind of disappointing so far in his ride so far in Cup. But he's a young driver; they're a development team, and he might not win, but I think he's going to come away with a better finish than most people will think. I'm going to take Tuck's boy, Justin Haley, this week as my sleeper. I'm surprised he didn't take him. He ran here well last year here, and I'm expecting good things from Justin this week.
I would love a top 15. We just need some momentum.
Hey, I think he'll get a top 10 this week. I think he'll
All right,
surprise.
if that happens, then I owe you one.
Hey,
Because being the president of the Justin Haley fan club and the only member is really sad. So
Well,
Oh man.
some very interesting picks this week.
yeah.
got a
So, I think
full bag.
we got 8 solid picks, so we're gonna have to have another celebration with the next podcast.
Absolutely.
So,
Y'all got anything else to add to episode 3 here?
we had
Matt.
we had NEXXTCAR.
Matt, yeah. Let's talk about NEXXTCAR here real quick.
Yeah, we haven't talked about NEXXTCAR, man. We literally skipped over that.
Well, Peyton, how'd your weekend go?
Same story, different week. To sound like a broken record player in these podcasts about NEXXTCAR. I think, that Xfinity race, I think I used all of my luck for the entire season in both 3 series on that one race. So now I've just kind of accepted that it's over. I had my moment, and I guess I'll just, ride around and get wrecked at the end of races from now on.
Hey, you know how Chastain's victims feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kat was the one that really brought it up. It's funny that I'm a huge fan of Ross, but yet I drive completely different than him. And yet Ross always comes out on top of his incidents. I'm always getting the short end of the stick. So I don't know. Maybe I need to turn into Ross Chastain in NEXXTCAR.
Don't do that. You'll get suspended.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see. Too bad I can't throw any punches on iRacing though. That's a little disappointing.
Don't spin the guy out either after the checker.
Yeah. You threw your punch in there.
Yeah.
So,
A big punch.
yeah.
Hey,
There's a lot of punches.
Hey, I said my case. He said his. Would agree to disagree. I don't know. And then last night.
Mono.
Yeah, and then last night I don't even know what to say. I just it becomes a point where you just kind of laugh about it and move on. So hey, we'll see how it goes next week. And
You
hey,
know,
we got Xfinity
Dave,
Wednesday.
I realize how the Cleveland Browns managers feel when they draft every year. Peyton was my #1 draft pick 2 seasons ago.
Hey,
Holy hell.
I'm like, if injury prone was possible in iRacing, that's basically me. I'm just incident prone. So
Would you get trigger
sorry,
finger
man.
or like what happened like over there?
I don't know, man. I'm like a magnet for disaster. So hey, I don't know.
David, how's your last 3 races go for you?
Well, I didn't run Cup and I didn't run Xfinity. I ran trucks.
Okay.
But trucks, we came home with a second place victory. Had an epic battle against Brendan Jinx for like the last 3 to 5 laps. Swapping positions back and forth, defending each other. Stayed real clean. And almost messed that one up on my own. I ended up getting, I think I was right behind you, Matt. And I was pushing you down pit road. And the moment that you came off of me, I accelerated.
I'm sorry.
And that got me a black flag and almost ended my night.
Yeah, that was weird because you said you were pitting and I was getting announced I was pitting, and then you kind of like gassed it and tried to like get underneath me, and I was so confused because I thought you were pitting, and I think it was just miscommunication. So
yeah, I didn't realize you were pitting. I guess I didn't hear that, and
I didn't
so
announce it because
I thought you were maybe like teaching me a lesson from when I didn't call my pit out. So, and then you came down, and I was like, okay, well that's fine, but since we're so close, I'm gonna push you down this pit road because you were doing about 53, and I believe it's 55 there. And
Yeah.
so I was pushing you up to 55, and like I said, when you split off, it caused me to accelerate because I don't have that resistance anymore. And that gave me a black flag and almost ended my night. And on top of that, when I had gotten that black flag and it moved me, and I came back out, we had caution. I ended up getting lucky dog. I came back around, and obviously you start in the very back behind all the lap cars when you get lucky dog. And I had to, I mean, narrowly avoid 2 big wrecks in order to come back up and get that second place finish. So it was a very tough race. I did not expect to do as well as I did, even though that's one of my favorite tracks. I honestly expected maybe a 7th or 8th place position finish. But yeah, it went really well for us. Second place. I think I had the truck to come up there and beat Ronnie, but me and Brendan battled for so long that there was no catching them. And then on top of that, on Saturday, we had the late model race at Hickory, and me and Robert Babcock had an amazing battle there too. That was another really good. Ended up coming out with the victory. Me and him trading blows. I think I moved him up a track twice. He crossed me over once. He gave me a couple bumps, and but relatively clean racing. Never had anything that was like over the line. It was really tough, hard racing, and it was great. Came away with my first victory in NEXXTCAR. Just need to get that one in truck now. So
I totally forgot we had the short track race on Saturday.
No,
How many
it
people?
was.
How many people showed up?
I think 6, but one of them bailed midway through the race because they didn't have any sleep or something like that. So we ended up having 5 on the track. So it wasn't
Gotcha.
very many. So it's not to write home about when it comes to a victory like that. But it's still nice to at least solidify
Peyton.
something. I'm really wanting that. Yeah, it's kind of like a lot like Peyton Tulik running against Casper the Ghost. But we got to win where we can win, right?
It sounds like you and Camaro are running away the competition. That's how I would advertise it if I were you and Camaro. So
It might have just been us 2 on the track when we ended.
Hey, just wait till you run away with the championship, David. You get your little tiny paper trophy. That way,
Hey,
next
I
car
ain't
champion.
the mail.
Doing points for trucks.
I
There
keep
you
checking
go.
the mail. I don't see
Okay,
it.
yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You're right
I
behind
am
me.
number 2 in points for trucks. So y'all watch Ronnie. You better watch out. I'm gonna spin your ass.
Yeah,
one of these days.
Norman or David. David is second in points. He's 17 back from Ronnie Norman. So
Yeah, if he doesn't think I'm gonna door him to get that first win, he's gotta think I'm.
yeah,
Matt,
I guess talking about mine. So yeah, Sunday was the truck race. Very up and down. Started mid pack. Drove up to like 4th or 5th. Rode there a little bit, and then it was like 15 to go. We had a caution, and then we had another caution with Peyton's incident and with Dunford. So I was like starting second outside Norman with about 15 to go. rode second, battled David, and then we just battled, and I burnt my stuff up and ended up falling back to 8th. Then Sunday, same story. Was leading, 10 to go. Just was battling hard with actually Dustin Slonecker. Dustin Slonecker had his career day at Auto Club on Monday night or yesterday night, and kind of took it away from him. So I'm a terrible captain. So, but yeah, so
Well,
it's okay.
well, you'll get a nice 1-week vacation.
Oh, probably, yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't my doing. I mean, supported the troops kind of helped me out a little bit.
Support our troops.
So he supported my W sponsorship right into Dustin. So, but but I can't take it away from Buck. He was going for his win, and we were all going for it. So, I mean, in the heat of the moment, I was upset, but looking back at it, it was just hard racing. So we were all going for it, and then here comes Cat yet again and steals another one. I think with Cat's 2 victories, it is a combined like 1/1000th of a second, because he beat me by 1/100th of a second. So he beat me by 6/100ths or 6/1000ths at Daytona, and and he beat that Buck less than that. So Cat is yet to win he's won 2 races in the Cup Series by a combined 1 car length. So congrats to Cat on another Cup victory, and I'll take my 3rd. And me and Cat are 1-2 in points for BCR and Cup. So it was a good weekend at Auto Club. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The best track probably on iRacing. Got multiple grooves, and hopefully we keep it around for next year. It's gonna be a long time till we run Auto Club again, but that's probably the best track we got.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out while I had 2 interesting races. Monday, I want to shout out my teammates because Alberto and Steve both almost stole one. Alberto, we're talking the chats and stuff off strategy. If the race goes green with about 15 to go, Alberto ran away from the field. I don't know if the guys on new tires would have caught him. So unfortunate for the late yellow for him, because I think he had that one in the bag. And then Steve, I was with Cat when that whole incident happened. Me and him were driving through the field, but so with me gone, Cat drives through the field, and then he's a 2v1 against Tuck and Cat there at the end. So really hard battle for him to win with how important draft is at Auto Club stuff. But he gave those boys all they could handle. So going back, I loved watching the end there for Steve. He gave a hell of a battle, and oh so close with so far. But absolutely great week by both of those 2 drivers.
Give a big old shout out to Christopher Thomas for doing race control on the Cup side of things, as well as he was spotting for Steve when he was making that run.
Yeah.
And Steve, if you'd have just listened to Chris, you'd probably win that race.
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
Ronnie,
Well, Matt, you got some news to announce here for your NEXXTCAR driver of the week.
Yeah, so kind of the cool thing we'll be doing for the rest of the podcast, and so kind of like reward guys like each week. Like, it's not going to be where if you win, and it's just going to be how you finish throughout the last 3 races. So we're going to do a driver of the week from the previous Xfinity race Wednesday, and then this weekend's Truck and Cup. So you have 3 races, and it's going to be just basically off of like your statistics and like how you finished, how you started. So there's going to be a lot of factors. Not going to be, don't have to win, just have to be a consistent guy, just based off your week. But this week, this guy's stats, I mean, it's hard not to go against it. He was last year's champion in both the Truck and Cup. And this week, Ronnie Norman ran 2 races. He ran the Xfinity race last week. He ran the Truck race this week. Won both, led a combined 184 laps. So that's hard not to go against. So you gotta have to have Ronnie Norman kick off the first driver of the week segment we got. So with him winning both races and both starts. So congrats to Ronnie Norman with Nick's 5th Gear Racing getting 2 dubs in the last 2 weeks. So Ronnie Norman is your driver of the week.
Do I win radioactive driver of the week?
You win every other category. You win donuts on the side of your truck. You win spin outs. You win everything.
Let's go.
Yeah, and to go along with that being our first edition of it, also I started something new for NEXXTCAR, and that is the new NEXXTCAR times. So definitely got to knock out this week, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But
You're coming back next week to start the broadcast, right?
you said what?
Is it next week you're coming back for the broadcast, aren't you?
It will be
Said first week of June, right?
yeah, because we're taking Memorial Day weekend off. So yeah, it'll be the first weekend of June that I'll be back.
Getting close.
Yep. I think it's what, 2 more league races, maybe 1 more?
Something like that. 'cause
One
we got
more actual
Memorial Day
league
off.
race weekends.
Yeah.
So then Nick lied to me. Or everyone, because he said it on the broadcast. So you're coming back next
Oh, my
week.
Lord.
Oh, no, not next week.
You might want to remind him that he
Yeah.
has to do it for the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched his broadcast a whole lot. I have to tune in.
He's
And,
getting better and better.
Is he?
He's
Good.
been getting better and better. So
Yeah, we got a
the
shout out to
energy
him,
has
though.
gone up a little bit, and it's been pretty good. The last
There's
one
been
was actually really watchable. So
he
There's been a
said
lot
the
of guys
last one was
step up.
actually really watchable.
well, I'm an honest person, so just
Man.
Oh, shout out to Nick. It's
Yeah, shout out
definitely
to Nick.
something
Thank you,
out of
man.
his comfort zone. No doubt about it. So
We
thanks for
appreciate
keeping
that.
my seat warm.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to get back in it, though. But, fellas, I think that's going to pretty much wrap up. I know you got to go, David, and go hit the track for practice tonight. So I think that's going to wrap up here, episode 3 for season 3 of the NEXXTCAR podcast. Once again, fellas, it's been great. David, thanks for the joining on such a short notice.
thanks for putting up with me.
Since
I appreciate it.
I know Payne had to go, wipe away his tears, and I see the trash.
man.
I see the trash bag full of Kleenexes
man.
behind you on your door handle. So
That's all my the hate mail I was going to send Denny Hamlin this week. After he won, I just had to cancel that. So
Yeah, your keyboard warrior.
Keyboard
like,
yeah, keyboard warrior.
all it says is Hamlin is meanie.
Yeah.
You are meanie.
But all right, fellas. Well, it's been a good one, and look forward to next week.
Absolutely. Thanks as always, Ronnie.
Absolutely. But guys, that's going to do it here for season 3, episode 3 of the NEXXTCAR podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and we will catch you guys next Tuesday, hopefully on time at 6 p.m., where we can do it all over again. Look at Peyton. He's about to get knocked out. Oh, wait, Matt's blocking the punch. Oh, he's hiding. But I will catch you guys next week. Have a good rest of your week, everybody.